All right, the more I look at stores that were created by beginners, first time, internet marketers or online entrepreneurs, or first time stepping into the e-commerce field or segment, I see some of the same kind of common themes come up. The same problems or the same oversights when creating a store. So what I wanted to do is just take a few minutes to kind of look through my store and kind of go over it as like an on-store audit. Just kind of take a look at some of the things that I think are important. The tiny little details that when you're setting up your Shopify store, you might just be missing here. And these are the tiny details that are going to make the difference between, making sales and turning your customers away, because your customers are educated. Your customers have been shopping online for many years now. E-commerce is no longer a new thing. People are very comfortable shopping online. People shop online on their phones, and therefore they see a lot of stores. So there's going to be some red flags that you want to avoid, because a red flag is going to turn people away because they don't feel safe about giving you their personal information and their credit card. You're not going to make the sale. It really doesn't matter how good your offer is. So let's just kind of go through it really quickly, and we'll touch on some of the points that I think are important. And these are details that I see a lot of beginners miss or do incorrectly or not pay attention to when they're creating their store. So on the front page here, let's just start with the first thing here. I want to talk about the logo. Okay, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be a lot of gradient. It doesn't have to be lots of colors. It just has to look clean and professional. I've shown you on this channel how I made this logo essentially by using a free paint.net software and a little bit of research. And I'll go ahead and put the link to that video in the description below. So if you're still looking to make a logo, this is a super easy way to do it. You're essentially modeling after the biggest brands out there. And, it's not super impressive, but it gets the job done because it looks professional. And what I see a lot of times here is you'll see a logo that is on, you can see the square background. So for instance, you need to make a transparent logo. It wouldn't make much difference if your store's background was white. But a lot of times what I'll see this, the logo on a white background, and then the rest of the store around here, the background will be like a light gray or something like that. And it just looks very obvious. It looks very tacky, and it looks unprofessional. The other thing I've seen from time to time is people who use a white background and they'll have a dark logo in a square box. Like their logo will be whatever, and it'll be, obviously be the square image around it. And once again, that just looks unprofessional. So your logo has to be on a transparent background. And in that same video I just talked about, if you don't know how to do that, I'll show you how to do it in that free photo editing program, paint.net as well. And the next thing I see is navigation not set up correctly. If your customer comes to your store and they can't figure out where to go or how to get around, they're going to get frustrated and they're never going to make it to the checkout page. They're just going to leave. So make sure your navigation is set up. And the other thing is, and this might seem obvious, but I see this mistake made all the time, make sure all your navigation is pointing somewhere. So say for instance, people, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into putting a store together if you're doing it correctly. And what you're going to see sometimes is, necklaces will be set up, pendant necklaces will be set up, bestsellers will be set up, accessories will be set up, blog will be set up. But for some reason, like one collection never got completed. Like, okay, it was time to go live, but we didn't have time to get the bracelets collection. And that's fine. You don't need every single collection up here. But if a collection's not complete, if there's not products on it, if it's not looking good and ready to go, make sure you remove that from your menu before you actually start going live. And then the other good thing to point out is you should have it depends on your theme, of course, but you should have your menu up here, but you should also focus on creating, your footer menu as well. And this footer menu gets overlooked all the time. And the reason this is important is because if you look at your theme, and like I said, once again, it depends on the theme that you have, but on mobile, you scroll from top to bottom. So by the time you get to the bottom, the last thing you want to do is scroll all the way back up to the top to hit that menu button and to figure out where you want to go next. So there should definitely be attention paid to your footer menu as well. Yes, it's helpful on desktop a little bit, but it's super helpful on mobile. And the other thing that on mobile, most themes, this won't be displayed. It'll be hidden under like a little toggle bar in the center there. So you always want a menu displayed as well for people who are not as tech savvy or not as used to shopping, I guess. So this footer menu, it's really important to pay attention to that footer menu as well. Now, while we're down here, I want to talk about this About Us section. Okay, it doesn't have to be super in-depth. There just should be something here. Don't neglect an important part of your store. The About Us page is important. Make sure you have that information there. And while we're talking about it, this super important, so often overlooked. You need a support email address down here. It's great if it's support at yourstore.com, but even yourstore@gmail is better than nothing. Okay, so you need your support email address down here. Listen, nobody's gonna email you. No one's gonna waste your time, and if they do, no big deal. But it makes people feel safe because I want to know how to get a hold of this person if my order doesn't show up or if I have a question about my order. And if I don't automatically see that email in plain sight, then at the very least, I'm going to be turned off a little bit. And most of the times, I'm not going to trust it. It's going to look shady. So this support email address has to be on the page, front and center, in black and white or whatever color your theme is. So let's continue on a little bit. And the next thing I want to talk about is images. So as you look at the images here, you see that for the most part, I've got good, clean images. And now here's a point to tell you where something that I did that is not really great, not perfect. See, for instance, let's look at this product right here. Now, this image is what I would consider a no-no. And yes, I understand it's on my store, but I make mistakes too. I don't really like images with text overlay on them because it doesn't look as professional. It doesn't look as elegant. It doesn't look as sexy. It just doesn't look good. Now, this is a minor offense. I've seen images that have, Chinese writing across the front here posted on the store. And if you can't find an image for a product that doesn't have, writing overlay or text overlay, then choose a different product. The product itself is not as important as the presentation of the product. So look for products that have good images. See, this is a great image right here. And the thing about, people buying online, the more easily that they can picture themselves using your product or wearing your product or having your product, the more likely they are to buy. So here is two girls taking a selfie with their sunglasses on. There's a good chance people are going to be looking at this product on their phone. They'll be able to easily picture themselves taking a selfie with these awesome, trendy sunglasses on. So that's a great picture right there. As far as product descriptions go, you don't, if you're going to have 40 products on your store just to make it look like, you've got a good catalog of products, which is not a bad idea. You don't necessarily need to write product descriptions for every single product. What you're going to do is you're going to kind of follow an 80-20 rule. All right. 80% of your sales are going to come from 20% of your products. So once you get your store up and looking good, then you're going to figure out which products are selling. Now, what you're going to want to do then is go into the products that are selling most of your traffic, getting most of the sales. And then you're going to want to really beef up your description on those products and take some time, do some research about what it takes to, make great product descriptions. Okay. Because these are going to increase your conversions, and conversions are everything. So if you're selling, 2% of the people who visit this product are buying, if you invest some time in writing a great product description, then if you can just bump that up to 3% or 4%, think about how much more money you're going to make. but you don't want to waste time. I mean, you don't need a huge, long description for every single product, especially if you got products in your store that are really just there as fillers and are not selling. I always like to recommend having a bestseller section. And the reason I like that is because oftentimes people will come to your store and they want to look cool, or they want something that's awesome, or they want something that's a good gift, or they want something that's other people are going to look at and compliment them on. But they don't know what's good. So if you have a bestseller section and you kind of highlight some of your high margin products in that area, because that's where people are going to go and blindly buy in the bestsellers. Because if you're just looking at all necklaces, people are going to weigh the pros, the cons, the options. But if you have a bestseller section, people are going to go and be like, okay, cool, that's hot, it must be trendy, and they're not even going to think about the price. They're just going to buy it. So I always recommend having a bestsellers or hot products collection on your store as well. And then the last thing I'm just going to talk about is your shipping. Okay, now I want to remove this one because this was a demonstration that I did for free plus shipping. That's not really what I want to talk about right now. So let's just add another product into the cart really quickly. And we'll go ahead and go to checkout. All right. And I want you to pay attention to your wording on your shipping. Okay. So if I'm offering free shipping, I'm not just calling this shipping. I'm calling this free shipping. Okay. And it's free. And it's free. And see, I want to emphasize the point that the shipping is free. And if it's not free, it doesn't matter. You can just pay attention. For instance, the other day I saw someone who was focusing on United States. They were marketing to the United States. Their store was set up in US dollars. Everything was towards the United States. And then down here it said free international shipping. And if you're only marketing to the United States, then why would you want to give people the idea that anything other than just make people feel good? You don't need to start talking about international if you're only marketing to one country. So just pay attention to the wording there as well. And those are just some great tips, little pointers. You really have to focus on the details here. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to that logo video in the description below. If you're just getting started and you're thinking about joining the Shopify e-commerce game, I'll also put a link to a free video that I made. It's a 2-hour training tutorial. What I do is I take a Shopify store from stage one. I mean, signing up to Shopify, and in real time, go ahead and get the whole store set up, customize it, add the Google Analytics, the Facebook pixel, how to add products, how to fulfill orders, and even how to market your store on Facebook. So you're definitely going to want to check that out as well, and I'll post a link to that in the description. And as always, if you found value in this video, stick around, look at the channel. There's some great content here, and please subscribe. I'd love to have you, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.